Good morning, everybody, on this very wet, very rainy, but kind of beautiful Monday morning. I never mind the rain, although this morning it has been absolutely lashing it down, and you can see from all the rain there on the veranda just how much rain has fallen, and it continues to fall. But there you go, one day dry, the next day wet. Such is life during the autumn, and everything's to be welcomed. So it's a case of getting my wellies on this morning and taking my umbrella to take Jack for a walk. But the postman arrived. I was just sat out here. Oh gosh, my wellies, they'll be getting wet in there. Oh, no. Have they got wet? Oh, drat. Let me just feel. Oh, no, not too bad. Okay. So, sorry, I was just sat here. Oh, look at the little robin over there on the veranda of the cottage. Look. Do you know what he's doing? Jack had some cream crackers out there, and he's just pecking up the little crumbs. Clever little birds. Right, so I was sat out here, and I was talking with my youngest daughter on the phone. Well, actually, my granddaughter. So I was making all kinds of silly noises, and didn't hear the postman pull up at the front. Neither did Jack, by the way. We were both sat here. So the postman came round the back with 2 packages. And I'll show you what I got. So I've got to say some thank yous this morning. A thank you left over from last week, and 2 thank yous this morning. And just a big thank you to everyone who supports Bealtaine Cottage in all different kinds of ways, and who very kindly and generously sends me presents. I never expect anything, so I'm always absolutely delighted to receive a present. And Rob, your present is still sitting in my bank account. Though I am going to London in the next few months. I keep saying this, don't I? But the intention is there. Maybe what I need to do is actually book my passage on the ferry, and that way then I'm sort of tied into going. So, went to see Downton Abbey last night in the cinema. It was lovely. Nothing to write home about, but just a lovely evening, you know. It was just a lovely, relaxing evening. The screen was filled with the most gorgeous of gorgeousness that only Bealtaine, that only Downton Abbey. It was a bit of a Freudian slip, wasn't it? That only Downton Abbey can possibly shine a light on, you know. Beautiful house and the dresses, and I'm a bit of a sucker for period drama. I just love anything like that. So, without further ado, I'll show you what I got in the post this morning. Do you know there's something very mesmeric, isn't there, about the rain? You could just sit here or stand here for great lengths of time just listening. Yeah, just lovely. So, let me show you. So I got 2 parcels. Now before I show you what I got here, no, I'll show you what I got here first. So, look at this. This is a beautiful candle holder made by my favourite potter of all time, Michael Kennedy. You can tell the Michael Kennedy touch. Look at the lovely little sort of twisted snake-like handle, and of course the beautiful glaze, the wonderful colours in the glaze. Look at those birds out there. So I've got a big thank you to say to Pat Gregory. Thank you so much, Pat. And you live in Hampshire, England, the birthplace of my mother. Thank you so much. I will treasure it, and I think that will fit in beautifully with the colours in my bedroom. Oh, I feel I'm being watched. Dun, dun, dun. Lurkio. So then I opened the second package, and this is from Deirdre. Deirdre, you're very naughty. You keep sending me gifts. What am I to say except thank you so much. So thank you so much, Deirdre. And you have sent me the Westward DVD. Wow. Now, I actually have this DVD. So, I hope you don't mind, Deirdre, if I pass this on to someone who will really appreciate it. It's a fantastic DVD. I love it. But look at this. Deirdre has sent me a book, and this is Vivian, my heroine, in all her own words. Get a Life. The Diaries of Vivian Westward. And I've been having a little peek in this. I'm very tempted just to sit down on the sofa and start reading, but I don't because I've got so much to do. But it's fabulous, just fabulous. Thank you so much. I love this woman. Rebel. And the other, let me just see, hang on, do I have to carry something through here? Okay. And then what I got last week, is from Therese Braun. And Therese sent me this wonderful I think it's called a flag roll, is it? And it's absolutely fabulous. And Therese it says Therese Braun Photographic Arts. And Therese says, "Hi Colette, I make these. The Goddess Garden flag sets, and thought you might enjoy one around the cottage. Thank you for all you do." Well, I love this. Now, I can't have it hanging above there when I've got the stove lit. So that's just a temporary place for it. But I just thought, oh, my word, that's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Thank you so much. I feel incredibly privileged to have received gifts, and especially gifts that are so beautiful. And Therese has sent me this beautiful, it's like a, it's like a little stained glass, really. And it's called Homecoming, Therese Braun. So thank you so much, Therese. Love it. So, now, seeing as I'm trapped indoors by the rain, oh, you can see my little candles are lit. I light candles in the morning, usually in the morning. Hang on, he wants to say hello. I light candles in the morning, and as I light them, I just offer up little prayers, little wishes. I suppose wishes, really. Yeah. So, one over there beside the Goddess. And one up there, reflective. And another little one up there. So before I go, I'm going to show you, because I know you're interested, some of the books that I bought in Belfast. Now, I love bookshops. Absolutely love bookshops. And that's why I love staying in Muswell Hill, because there's several second-hand bookshops. There's one that sells books for Oxfam, and it's right beside a coffee shop. I mean, Nirvana. Yes. So here's some of the books that I got in Belfast. Okay. First one, because you know I love architecture. I'm fascinated by architecture. So this is an introduction to Ulster architecture by Hugh Dixon. And that's the Ulster Architectural Heritage Society. This one, I might need to kind of recover it a bit because it's obviously been well read. I'm fascinated by women in history because there's so little recording of women in history. Because of course in the past and up until fairly recently, it's always been men who've written history. And history, it was almost like a chronicling of the wealthy, the royal, the powerful, none of whom were women of any importance, she says. Anyway, so this is becoming visible. Women in European History. It's the second edition. So I'm looking forward to reading that. I love history. I just love history because I can read history with quite a critical, analytical mindset. So I don't just suck it up. I'm questioning and I'm trying to put everything into context. And to sort of explain that, I was invited to join on Facebook I'm just kind of trying to remember the title of the page, or the group, but it was basically the O'Neill Historical Society, you know, the history of the O'Neills. And I've mentioned this before, I'm sure, but every single post was to do with a male O'Neill. Absolutely no females to be had on any level at all. So I did actually post a little question. I said, where are all the O'Neill women? Well, my word, but I was actually shouted down in a very sarcastic way, you know, that sort of, you know, oh, calm down, you know, what's the big deal sort of thing. So I immediately left the group. I thought, well, I'm not having, there's kind of nothing of any interest here because it's too one-sided. And this is what I'm questioning now about all history. It's one-sided. So we don't really have history, do we? We don't have history. History should be a recording of the pertinent facts and things of interest, stories of interest throughout the years. It shouldn't be just a one-sided chronicling of who did what, where and when, and who won what, and who killed what, and who won the war. You know, that's boring. So anyway, that's the kind of mindset that I have when I'm reading history. So I usually end up having an enormous debate with myself, well, more with the book. But this should be interesting. Now this one here, of course, is a quite an old book. I think it's 1902, the published edition. And you can see the influence of the kind of arts and crafts movement, the Art Nouveau, I think, but it kind of came from the Art Nouveau, but the arts and crafts movement of that time. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. And again, rather than it being a history book, it's looking at the literature of the Celts. I mean, look what I paid for it. It was only £3. There you go, 1902. So I'm really looking forward to dipping into that and reading that. Rachel Carson was basically the founder of the environmental movement with this first book, Silent Spring. And it has become a modern classic. Of course it has. It's an incredible book. This is my first copy of this book. I mean, I've gotten it out from libraries before and I've read it, but this is my first owned copy. So this is something I'm going to be dipping in and out of and reading. The intellectuals and the masses. Pride and Prejudice among the literary intelligentsia, 1880 to 1939. Interesting book. And it says, an incredibly juicy read, and that was from Julie Burchell, Mail on Sunday. So that should be a bit of a rollicking read. Looking forward to that. This one here was written by Benedict Kiley. Now, I've got to tell you this because it puts growing up in Ireland into context. Now, there's hardly any class divide in Ireland from my experience. I'm speaking from my experience. And I'll give you an illustration of this. I grew up in a very impoverished area of Omagh called Gallows Hill. Right? Do you get that deep sense of foreboding? Gallows Hill. Gallows Hill was just all back to back little terraced houses. And I've told you before, you know, oh, sorry, just a little insect came on me there. The actual way in which we lived was incredibly impoverished. But within that impoverished community, there were a lot of famous people grew up, or people grew up to be famous. So I had a friend called Monica Call, and Monica's uncle, that's on her mother's side, was this man, Benedict Kiley. Benedict Kiley grew up in impoverishment to become a famous writer. So here is one of his books, Yeats' Ireland. And so that is a book which is well worth the read, because of course it's illustrated as well. So it puts, it's a history book, but it's within the context of William Butler Yeats, the Rising, the literary movement, the artist movement. So it's much more interesting than just a simple history book. This one, of course, is sort of a fairly simple book, Ireland Past and Present, edited by Brendan Kennelly. This is a little guidebook here for Sligo Abbey. Quite an old one, so that should be interesting, because I can visit Sligo Abbey with this book. This one here, now there's two editions of this, book 1 and book 2, and the abandoned mansions of Ireland, which of course, you know, I'm just looking at that picture there. That looks a wee bit like Lachine House that I took you all to. There's a video, one of the videos I did was a visit to Lachine House. So the photographic work in this is absolutely beautiful, just beautiful. And when I come across any really interesting stories within this book, I will share them with you, okay? So it's a fabulous book. And then this is the second edition here. And again, just the photography is stunning. Just stunning. Okay. And then that's it. Just a magazine underneath there. So that's what I wanted to share with you. So just a huge thanks again to those of you who support Bealtaine Cottage and think kindly of me and send me these gifts, which are overwhelming, really. Overwhelming. Right. So, the boy's gone back out there. Jack, you're a lazy lump. He says, oh, well, for goodness sake, it's raining. What on earth am I to do? I think that bed's too comfortable, Jack, isn't it? So there we go. Blessings to you all on this beautiful Monday morning. Let me just show you, by the way, before I sign off, because I was looking out the window this morning at all the beautiful colours. Look at some of those colours out there developing. If I just open the door here. Look at this. Amazing or what? See? Between the berries and the leaves and the stems, it's just beautiful. So, if tomorrow's a dry day, we'll have a walk around the gardens and have a closer look at the changing colours. Blessings to you all.